Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. In the first Jammu and Kashmir visit after the polls, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate developmental projects in the valley today and also to lead the 10th Yoga Day celebrations in Srinagar. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to visit Sri Lanka. The visit to add momentum to connectivity projects and other mutually beneficial cooperation across many sectors. After concluding a defense pact with North Korea, Russian President Putin touches down in Vietnam for final stop in his two-nation Asia tour. As tension escalates in the South China Sea, Philippines says peace could not be achieved if China's worst did not match its behavior in the disputed waters. Unrelenting heat waves smash records across the globe. 80 million people in the US under a heat advisory as New York opens cooling centers. More than 550 died during Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia. In his first visit to Jammu and Kashmir after assuming office for the third term, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in Srinagar on Thursday. During his two-day visit to the Union Territory, Prime Minister will be participating in Empowering Youth Transforming Jammu and Kashmir event in Srinagar on Thursday evening. He will inaugurate and lay the foundation stone of multiple development projects in Jammu and Kashmir. Prime Minister will also launch Competitiveness Improvement in Agriculture and Allied Sectors project. He will, during his visit, distribute appointment letters to more than 2,000 youth for different government services. On his second day of the visit, the Prime Minister will participate in the 10th International Day of Yoga event in Srinagar. He will also address the gathering on the occasion and take part in the common yoga protocol session thereafter. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will reach Colombo today as part of his official visit to Sri Lanka. During the visit, Dr. S. Jaishankar will have meetings with the leadership of Sri Lanka on wide-ranging issues of the mutual partnership. This will be Dr. S. Jaishankar's first bilateral visit after the formation of the new government under Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Reaffirming India's neighbourhood-first policy, the visit underlines India's continued commitment to Sri Lanka as its closest maritime neighbour and time-tested friend. The visit will add momentum to connectivity projects and other mutually beneficial cooperation across different sectors. DD India's Dr. Ahmed Moeen Farooqi joins us from Colombo. Ahmed, good morning. When we talk of this visit, then this visit is the first of Dr. S. Jaishankar after the new government took office in India. Let us get more from you. What do we expect from the visit? How significant is it?
Preeti, you see, first of all, we have to remember this, that at the time of swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Council of Ministers, President Ranil Wickremesinghe had visited India and he had met Dr. S. Jaishankar. He had held certain discussions with him. Thereafter, he had announced that Dr. Jaishankar would soon visit Sri Lanka and he would also discuss on various things, how to take forward the India-Sri Lanka relationship, the bilateral relationship that has been existing over the last 75 plus years. Now, we can also recall that last year when President Ranil Wickremesinghe had also visited India at that point of time in July 2023, he had met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and both leaders had come out with a joint vision document which kept connectivity at its center. And that would be the key, the facet of the bilateral relations going forward into the Amrit Kal, or the time that would lead to the centenary celebration of the independence of both countries. Now, that has been the precursor with regard to what we are going to expect here because neighborhood first policy has been a key kind of a policy which has taken India's foreign policy in the neighborhood over the last 10 years. And it is being seen that in India 3.0 or Modi 3.0, we are going to see this policy to further strengthen. And how this happens is what we are likely to see today. There is going to be more discussion with regard to how the collaboration, how the cooperation that exists between the two countries would be taken forward, how the relationship will further be strengthened. And most likely, we would we will be seeing some decisions with regard to how the connectivity projects which were announced earlier, they will take shape. Because there have been a few important projects which were announced earlier, and some work would commence soon. So this is a likelihood that is on one part of it. The second thing is the maritime security. Indian Ocean Rim Association is a collective of all the countries which are bordering the Indian Ocean. And this year, we have seen that Sri Lanka has assumed the chairmanship of the IORA. While India has the vice chair, and India will be the next chairman from 2027 onwards, 2025 to 2027. This is something which is a very important grouping for India because it's in the Indian backyard, and India's safety and security is paramount for India, and India will be looking forward to strengthen the maritime security. And this is one place where probably Dr. Jaishankar will have certain discussions with regard to the maritime security and in the related space. So these are a few things. At the same time, I also have to highlight that Sri Lanka is going into elections later this year. So there will be some amount of discussion with regard to how to take forward the relations after the elections also. So probably there will be some discussions on these lines as well. Preeti.
All right, Ahmed, you've underlined the different areas of concern between the two countries and where both the countries expect the relationship to further strengthen. But then also there is a talk of an industrial zone that could be set up in the eastern district of Trincomalee. Spell out more details, because this, we believe, will be established by the Indian government that will also attract numerous Indian investors. So how crucial is this project? And also, let us get more details, more highlights from you on this.
Preeti, it's Trincomalee. You're absolutely right. Trincomalee is a very important location for Sri Lanka as well as India. It's a strategic location. It is the second largest natural harbor in the region. And it is something which has been, a potential. It has potential with regard to how it can further increase Sri Lanka's independence with regard to the energy security. And this is where India has come in. India wants to develop Sri Lanka's Trincomalee as a regional energy hub. This will also be boosted by the pipeline connectivity that India wants to have from Indian side to Sri Lanka, and that will give a lot of strength, because this pipeline will have dual purposes. Both it can accommodate fuel as well as other products as well. So this is something which is very important for Sri Lanka, which is always dependent on import of fuel for its survival. This is one part of it. The second part is that the Trincomalee energy hub will have more investments coming in, likely from India, because India wants to develop this, not just because it's in the eastern coast and there are a lot of opportunities which will be created for the Tamil population which exists there, but also because this is one place where India is looking forward to further invest and already has identified certain projects in which it would probably likely go into. We have already seen Sampur, which is a little away from Trincomalee, which was recently announced, and work has already commenced there. That is an important power project for the eastern province. And likely there are a few other projects which will be soon finalized in the eastern province. But the Trincomalee regional hub will be at the core of the Indian investments which will happen, because it's going to be a mega project. Preeti.
All right, we leave it here. Thank you so much, Ahmed, for joining in with those details. Moving on, the UGC-NET June 2024 examination that took place on 18th of June has been cancelled by the central government. The UGC-NET is an eligibility test conducted by National Testing Agency for junior research fellowship, appointment as assistant professor, and admission to PhD degree courses. Inputs from Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center suggested possible compromises, prompting the Ministry of Education to take action. The ministry said that the action was taken to ensure the highest level of transparency and sanctity of the examination process is ensured. The Supreme Court is set to hear new petitions on June 20th seeking the cancellation of NEET UG 2024 examination due to alleged paper leaks. This controversy has led to protests and complaints, particularly after 1,563 candidates received grace marks and 67 students scored a perfect 720. Earlier on Tuesday, the Apex Court emphasized that any negligence in the conduct of the examination would be addressed thoroughly. The Supreme Court also noted that the litigation concerning the exam would not be adversarial, recognizing the hard work students put into preparing for this medical entrance test. Vikas Sarthi is joining us to spell out more. Vikas, good morning. Now, the Supreme Court yesterday refused to stay the NEET counselling. Also, it refused to order an immediate CBI probe to investigate the discrepancies in the NEET exam. And today we will see it will take up further petitions. Let us get more from you.
Right, Preeti. So the petitions with similar demands have already been heard by the Supreme Court, and in those cases, Supreme Court has issued a notice to the National Testing Agency. And in fact, Supreme Court earlier also said that it is not going to stop the counselling or the admission process. But court also pointed out that it is the primary responsibility of the NTA to address any kind of discrepancy or anomaly. Supreme Court said that even if there are errors of 0.001%, these errors should be fixed by NTA within time before counselling. Otherwise, Supreme Court may have to intervene. So those petitions are to be taken up by the Supreme Court on 8th of July. There are petitions which earlier challenged the granting of grace marks to 1,563 students. That issue has been addressed by the NTA, but some petitions are alleging that that there was some incident of paper leak, and these should be investigated by the Central Bureau of Investigation. On those petitions, Supreme Court has issued notices. Today, there are a number of petitions before the Supreme Court. Some of the petitions are of similar nature, and the other petitions have been filed by the National Testing Agency. NTA is requesting the Supreme Court to transfer all the cases which are pending before different high courts to the Supreme Court itself. Earlier also, NTA came with the same petition, and the Supreme Court also said that those petitions will also be taken up on 8th of July. Now, and after filing of certain petitions in different high courts, 4 transfer petitions have been filed by the National Testing Agencies, and we expect that in these petitions also Supreme Court will only issue notice and tag those matters with the pending cases, and all these petitions, all these bunch of petitions will be taken up on 8th of July itself. Another important observation court made was that during the vacation bench, Supreme Court didn't pass very specific directions to the government or the NTA, but when the regular bench of the Supreme Court will hear this issue, before that all these discrepancies must be addressed by the NTA. So that was the message for the National Testing Agency, and the detailed hearing will take place on 8th of July, and then we will see that what kind of direction Supreme Court will pass on the demand of CBI investigation or re-examinations.
All right, Vikas, we leave it here. Thank you for joining in with those details. And moving on, in other news, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday highlighted the Union Cabinet's decisions to increase the minimum support price on 14 kharif crops and the development of Lal Bahadur Shastri International Airport, Varanasi. Prime Minister Modi, in a social media post, said that the government is committed to expanding connectivity across the country. He added that the airport will make the lives of the people of Varanasi easier, as well as provide great convenience to the pilgrims visiting Kashi. The Prime Minister also underlined the approval of viability gap funding scheme for offshore wind energy projects off the coasts of Gujarat and Tamil Nadu, and the development of a major port in Vadhavan in Maharashtra. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, 32 people die after allegedly consuming illicit liquor in Kalakurchi district in Tamil Nadu. North India smolders under sweltering temperatures with no immediate relief in sight, predicts the IMD. In a major breakthrough, Jammu and Kashmir police arrest a terror associate at Riyasi.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you more domestic headlines. In a tragic incident, at least 32 people have died and several were hospitalized after they allegedly consumed illicit liquor in Kalakuruchi district in the southern state of Tamil Nadu. After Wednesday's incident triggered a major uproar, the government rushed specialized medical teams to the hospital. The incident comes just a year after 22 people died in twin huge tragedies in Velupuram and Chengalpattu districts. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin expressed shock over the deaths and said that the action had been taken against officials who failed to prevent it. A major breakthrough has been achieved in the case pertaining to the terrorist attack in Jammu and Kashmir's Riyasi on the pilgrim bus on June 9th. One terror associate has been arrested by Jammu and Kashmir police at Riyasi. This person was involved in harboring the terrorists multiple times. The arrested person is a prime militant associate who helped the terrorists in the execution of the attack. Further interrogation and investigation of the case is underway. At least 5 people died of heat stroke in New Delhi as North India continues to reel under a severe heat wave. Doctors have warned that elderly people are more susceptible to heat stroke. On Tuesday, nighttime temperature in Delhi soared to a record high of 33.8 degrees Celsius. The city has been recording above 40 degrees Celsius temperature during the day. According to the Met Department, several severe heat wave conditions will persist across parts of North India. Parts of the hill state of Uttarakhand received rainfall on Wednesday after a prolonged dry spell, bringing relief to people from the scorching heat. According to the Weather Department, the plain areas will witness a drop of around 2 to 4 degrees and the hills around 4 to 6 degrees Celsius due to Wednesday's rains. Water levels of major rivers in the northeastern Indian state of Assam are on rise as heavy rains continued in the region. On Wednesday, a number of villages reeling underwater reached up to 979 in as many as 19 districts. Almost 3 lakh people have been affected. On the weather forecast, IMD has issued orange alert for Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh. We've seen continued rise in the water levels of the rivers in Assam after heavy rains continued in the northeastern state. Karimganj was the district that was the most affected due to the floods. DD India Subina Roy joins us from Dibrugarh. Subina, good morning. We've told our viewers how the water level in the rivers in Assam are continuing to rise. You're there in Dibrugarh. Let us get more from you as to how has the day begun.
Yeah, good morning, Preeti. As you can see, it's drizzling continuously. Incessant rains have been occurring in Assam. And due to these rains, over 3 lakh people have been affected. And this time, it is Karimganj, which is the worst hit district. And it alone has 2.5 lakh people who are affected by these floods. So talking about the overall Assam, around 19 districts have been affected. Yesterday it was 15 districts which were affected, but today it has increased to 19 districts, which comprises mostly of South Assam, West Assam. To name a few, it is Karimganj, Kachar, Darang, Hailakandi, Kamrup, South Salmara, Gwalpara, Nolbari, Nagaon, Darang, to name a few. Talking about the revenue circles which are affected, around 48 revenue circles are affected and 979 villages have been affected. The most affected villages is in Karimganj district, followed by Nolbari and Nagaon. Now, talking about the relief camps, yesterday around 105 relief camps were set up. Total relief camps were 81 and around relief distribution centers were 24. Uh, Talking about the overall, the rivers which are flowing above danger level, as per the flood bulletin report, Kopili in Kamrup is flowing above danger level. When we talk about Upper Assam, especially the Brahmaputra is flowing at 104-meter level. The danger level is at 105 meter, which is just 1 meter above. So the Brahmaputra has rised and it is going to touch the danger level. And talking about the other tributaries of Brahmaputra, like Siang has touched 150 meter and the danger level is 153 meter. The Loit has almost touched, which is an important tributary of Brahmaputra. It has almost touched the danger level, like 190 meter. The Noa Jing in Namsai, which is in Arunachal Pradesh, it has touched almost the danger level at 143 meter. And in Dibrugarh, yesterday rainfall was recorded at 8.133 millimeter, and the total annual rainfall in Dibrugarh till now is 687 millimeter.
Right.
And the inmates, right?
Yes, please continue.
Yeah, talking about the people who are living in relief camps, it has increased to around 12,000. And Preeti, this time the trend is to be seen that in the aftermath of Remar, it is the South Assam, especially the Barak Valley, which has been affected by this time floods. Last year, it was like in the northeastern part of Assam, like Dibrugarh, Dhemaji, Lakhimpur, Nagaon. These are the areas which were affected. But this time, it is the Kacha region which is affected, like Hailakandi, Karimganj. So Karimganj is the topmost where people are residing in relief camps, followed by Hojai. Fortunately, yesterday, no life was taken by the floods. No death was reported yesterday. The rescue operations yesterday, around 51 boats were deployed across the state, especially in Karimganj, since it is the most affected districts, and persons evacuated were 82 persons who were evacuated, and animals, 130 animals were taken from the low-lying areas to protected areas. And medical teams, talking about medical teams, 10 medical teams were deployed to provide assistance to flood-affected victims and any patients in those residing in those areas.
Right. All right.
IMD has issued red orange alert for Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya. So for the next 5 days, this cyclonic circulation, which is prevailing over Assam and northeast, this is going to cause rains for the next few days.
All right, Subina. So that was an extensive, detailed answer to the current situation there in Assam. Joining us with those details. Let's turn focus to Bangladesh now. Sylhet and its neighbouring districts in Bangladesh are facing flooding due to continuous heavy rainfall over the past 3 days. Nearly 4 lakh people in Sylhet metropolitan area and throughout the district have been stranded. The rivers of Sylhet region are flowing above danger levels since the last 2 days. Also, Bangladesh Met Department has issued a warning for heavy to very heavy rainfall over Rangpur, Sylhet and Chattogram divisions for the next 72 hours. The Met Department also warned of landslides at places over the hilly regions. DD India's Naval Sangh Parmar joins us from Dhaka. Naval Sangh, good morning. Let us get the latest on the current situation with regard to the weather in Bangladesh. We've told our viewers how close to 4 lakh people in Sylhet are stranded due to the flood situation.
Yes, good morning. Monsoon is very active in the northern Bay of Bengal area, and due to that, the hilly region of Bangladesh as well as the northeastern India, like Meghalaya hills, have received heavy rainfall in last 3 days. And due to that, the Sylhet region and Sylhet town city experiencing flooding in the neighboring district also. And due to that, around now the latest figure is around 7 lakh people are stranded in the Sylhet region's flood, and the water is not receding. And meanwhile, the BMD, Bangladesh Meteorological Department, has predicted yesterday that in next 72 hours, means today and tomorrow, it is very likely that heavy to very heavy rainfall may occur in the Sylhet division as well as the three other divisions, Rangpur, Mymensingh and the Chattogram division. So this flood situation in Sylhet region may worsen, and at the same time, Bangladesh authorities, particularly the fire service and civil defense department and the local administration, are trying very hard to rescue the people as well as to provide relief and other required material. At the same time, in the northern, just I talked about the northeastern Bangladesh. Now, in the northern Bangladesh, particularly in the Rangpur division, as the Brahmaputra's water level is increasing, at the same time, Tista is also flowing near to danger level. So this will affect the three northern district of Bangladesh: Kurigam, Lal Munir, Hat, and the Rangpur itself, and the water level is increasing in the Tista river, so flooding will happen in this three district of Bangladesh. And at the same time, BMD also predicted that due to heavy rainfall in the hilly regions of Chittagong and the Sylhet division, there are very chances that the landslide may occur. And as I mentioned in my story, that yesterday on around 6 a.m. in the morning, there were a landslide at different places in the Rohingya camps, where 9 people were reported deaths, and the latest figure is one more death happened there, and it is now 10. So 10 people lost their lives in the landslides in the Rohingya campsite, where more than 10 lakhs Rohingyas are taking shelter in the Cox's Bazar district of Bangladesh.
All right, Naval Singh, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for joining in with those details. And now to all the updates from the 18th edition of Mumbai International Film Festival. On day 5th of Mumbai International Film Festival, filmmaker and cinematographer R.V. Ramani addressed a session titled Beyond Boundaries. Ramani is also the winner of India's National Award. He tells DD India's Shama Mishra about how filmmakers need to find new form of expressions to bring newness into filmmaking.
Cinematographer Ravni sir is with us. He was here at Mumbai International Film Festival for addressing a masterclass session. So you spoke on Beyond Boundaries, and we understand that you've worked in several languages with several directors. What would be your go-to advice?
Go-to advice is that all of you try a language that is close to you. Do whatever you want to. Yeah, there is no reason for that. This is the way films are made. It is not valid anymore. This is the way I wish to make. That is the only narrative.
Yeah. We are also seeing, sir, that of late we have always been producing good movies, making good movies. But now, with the advent of OTTs gaining more popularity and everything, language is no barrier. What would you say about the content, about the filmmaking? What should be the one thing that should be most looked at to make a good movie?
No, content is, what touches you, what you feel connected to. I mean, this is how I do it, meaning that I can only speak from my experience. So I would say everybody is an artist, everybody is aspiring storyteller, and you choose a medium. And if you choose an audiovisual as a medium, then you just say it in the way you want to. Discover possibilities of the medium itself, experiment, and then discover that is close to you. Like the way children do drawings, like they discover a new way of drawing. You cannot say it's a bad painting or a good or bad. That's the way one person expresses. So I think a lot of turmoils in your mind, social stigmas and those kind of, all this kind of thing in personal level also can be freed by free expressions. In whatever medium. It can be talking, it can be poetry, it can be singing. Here you're talking about audiovisual as a film possibility. A free expression, just say what comes to you from deep inside, and find a way to, and discover a language. This is the only way to do it, There's no other way.
Thank you very much for talking to us, sir.
You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Ecuadorians finally heave a sigh of relief as power was restored in the nation after a nationwide electricity outage crippled daily life chores. UK migrant boat crossings have hit a 19-month high, adding pressure on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. UK parliamentary candidate runs as first AI lawmaker with interactive AI avatar. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. A quick relook at the top stories once again. In the first Jammu and Kashmir visit after the polls, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate developmental projects in the valley today and also to lead the 10th Yoga Day celebrations in Srinagar. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar to visit Sri Lanka. The visit to add momentum to connectivity projects and other mutually beneficial cooperation across many sectors. After concluding a defense pact with North Korea, Russian President Putin touches down in Vietnam for final stop on his two-nation Asia tour. As tension escalates in South China Sea, Philippines says peace could not be achieved if China's words did not match its behavior in the disputed waters. Unrelenting heatwave smashed records across the globe. 80 million people in the US under a heat advisory as New York opens cooling centers. More than 550 people died during Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia. After concluding a defense pact with North Korea, Russian President Vladimir Putin touched down in Vietnam early on Thursday for talks with the country's communist leaders on the final stop of his two-nation tour of Asia. Vietnam, which officially pursues a neutral foreign policy it calls bamboo diplomacy in its relations with world powers, has abstained from condemning Russia's attack on Ukraine, a stance that Western countries view as too close to the Kremlin. Although both North Korea and Russia face international isolation, Vietnam has built careful alliances with the US and the European Union. The Southeast Asian country will be the third nation Putin has visited after China and North Korea since he was sworn in for a fifth term in May. Russian president has also wrapped up his trip to North Korea. Vladimir Putin received a full-blown official welcome and spent more than 10 hours negotiating. He later signed a new document that elevates the relations between the two countries to a higher level. The importance of the visit goes beyond bilateral relations because both the countries have increased attention of key world powers. Dasha Chernysheва gets us more from Moscow.
The Russian President Vladimir Putin and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un have signed a comprehensive strategic partnership agreement that includes a vow of mutual assistance if either is attacked. The document was finalized on Wednesday after hours of talks in Pyongyang with delegations and tete-a-tete. Putin said in accordance with the document, Russia could have military technical cooperation with North Korea. Kim Jong-un said the agreement is of a peaceful and defensive nature and would become a driving force accelerating the creation of a new multipolar world. The Kremlin also noted that the document is needed because of profound changes in the geopolitical situation in the region, worldwide, and in bilateral ties between Moscow and Pyongyang, while also insisting that the new document will observe all the fundamental principles of the international law. Putin called the DPRK position on Ukraine a confirmation of Pyongyang's sovereign course. Kim said North Korea-Russia relations have elevated to the level of an alliance. The two also signed an agreement on cooperation in the field of healthcare, medical education and science, according to the Kremlin. Putin's trip has been closely watched by the US and South Korea amid concern of the growing cooperation between the sanctions-hit states. Dasha Cherneshova in Moscow, reporting for DD India.
DD India's Laura Westbrook joins us from Hong Kong. Laura, good morning. Now, Vietnam, with its foreign policy of non-alignment and close historical ties to Moscow, let us understand from you, how significant is this visit of Putin to Vietnam?
Yes, well, Vladimir Putin is touched down in Hanoi and he's in Vietnam for just 24 hours. He's expected to participate in a wreath-laying ceremony at the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum, and he's going to be meeting with officials such as the Communist Party chief and the Vietnamese president. Their talks are expected to focus on deepening the strategic relationship, and trade is also expected to be very high on the agenda. Vietnam is one of Asia's fastest growing economies, and Russia is looking to pivot towards Asian markets away from European markets. This is following its invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Vietnam has deep historical and military ties to Russia. These go back to the Vietnam War, as well as both countries having communist roots. And so Vietnam is also said that its stance on the Ukraine war is officially neutral and has so far refrained from sending arms to Russia, and so really is one of Russia's few friends in the region. But this visit has also drawn a strong rebuke from the United States. It's released a statement via its embassy saying that no country should give Putin a platform to promote its war of aggression. It says that by normalizing travel by Vladimir Putin freely, that this would only normalize Russia's violations of international law.
Laura, also we saw that yesterday Vladimir Putin signed a defense pact with North Korea. How do you evaluate or how do you gauge the importance of the visit Putin had to North Korea, and also spell out more details on the defense pact that was signed?
Yes, well, this is his visit to North Korea. They signed that defense pact and they deepened their relationship, and so that was really quite a significant trip and significant moment for Vladimir Putin. But for Vietnam, it has yet to send arms, and it really is having quite a delicate balance when it comes to its relationship with Russia. For President Putin, this is his first visit to Hanoi since 2017, and it's part of his efforts to show that efforts by the West to isolate Russia have failed, and that it still has friends in Asia. He has visited Vietnam as well as China, and then that visit to North Korea just on Wednesday. And for Vietnam, having President Putin go to Vietnam is all about countering the growing influence of the US and China as well. It is trying to show that it is seeking relationships with all of the major powers, the US, China and Russia, and that by having a closer, having Russia visit, this could also help to counter the growing influence of the US and China. Some analysts have also said that Vietnam will be looking to Russia and to Vladimir Putin for some reassurances that Russia's increasingly close ties to China won't come at the expense of Vietnam. And so while this visit by Russian President Vladimir Putin does risk disappointing key allies such as the United States, which is Vietnam's top trading partner, for Vietnam it's about showing that it is seeking partners in all countries and that it won't sacrifice ties with one power to meet the expectations of another.
All right, Laura, we leave it here. Thank you for joining in with those details. And let's get you the latest on the tension that escalated between China and Philippines over the South China Sea. The Philippines urged China to avoid actions that endangered sailors and vessels in the South China Sea, saying peace could not be achieved if China's words did not match its behavior in the disputed waters. The Philippine Foreign Ministry denounced as illegal and aggressive China's actions during a routine resupply mission on June 17, which the Philippine military said had severely injured a Navy sailor and damaged Manila's vessels. Meanwhile, China's Coast Guard disputed the statement, saying Manila's vessel deliberately and dangerously approached a Chinese ship in an unprofessional manner, forcing it to take control measures, including boarding inspections and forced evictions. In Ecuador, power was nearly fully restored in the South American nation on Wednesday afternoon after a nationwide electricity outage struck residential users, hospitals as well as the capital's subway system. The outage left the nation of some 18 million in the dark. Wednesday's outage also caused dangerous driving conditions for scores of motorists as traffic lights ceased to work. Operations of Quito's subway were also interrupted for several hours. Ecuador's Public Works Minister, Roberto Luque, blamed the outage on lack of investment in the electrical systems. In April, Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa declared an energy emergency and announced planned electricity cuts. While the South American country has struggled with a drought affecting hydroelectricity power generation, heavy rains over the weekend forced authorities to take 3 hydroelectric plants offline. UK migrant boat crossings have hit a 19-month high, adding to the pressure on Prime Minister Rishi Sunak ahead of the country's general election. More than 800 asylum seekers arrived in Britain via small boats across the English Channel on Tuesday. Now, that is the highest single-day figure to make the journey from France since late 2022. DD India's Ollie Barrett gets us more from London.
Well, this new data on arrivals on small boats across the English Channel from France to the UK make very difficult reading for the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and his Conservative Party, because immigration is a central issue during the UK election campaign, and he is a Prime Minister that pledged when he came into office to stop these small boat crossings, and they absolutely have not been stopped so far. Now, Rishi Sunak would say that he has a Rwanda migration scheme ready to go if he wins the next general election. That would make a difference in this area, but the opposition parties say it's a gimmick, it's unworkable, and that these latest figures just show that the government does not have this issue under control. The Labour Party, which is well ahead in all of the polling at the moment, says that if it gets into government, which the polls suggest it may well do, that it would scrap the Rwanda scheme entirely. That plan that the Prime Minister hopes will see some asylum seekers removed from the UK and sent to Rwanda to pursue their asylum claims there. Labour says they would scrap it and bring in other measures designed to tighten up border control and get on top of overall net migration numbers, but particularly illegal immigration. The right-wing Reform UK party, led by Nigel Farage, says that neither of the two major parties would do enough to get on top of immigration, and it believes that immigration is why Reform have been performing well in several polls recently. Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK, looks set, according to the polling, to be returned as an MP himself in the seat of Clacton on the south coast of England. All of this means that migration remains a central theme in the election campaign. The UK election on July the 4th is now just 2 weeks away. Ollie Barrett in London reporting for DD India.
British voters will get the chance to elect what's being billed as the world's first AI lawmaker in the July 4th national election to join Britain's parliament. Businessman Steve Endacott is standing for election, but unlike other candidates, he has campaign leaflets showing not his face, but an AI-generated avatar. Steve Endacott is among hundreds of candidates standing to become a Member of Parliament at Britain's July 4th national election. AI Steve, the name that will appear on the ballot papers, engages with voters on various topics and present policy ideas. The avatar interacts with people in real time and asks for their input. Let's get you weather updates from across the globe now. Parts of US broke decades-old temperature records as heat waves sweltered the region. About 80 million people from Indiana to New England sweltered under heat advisory or excessive heat warning. Weather authorities warn that this could be a deadly weather event. New York governor activated the state's emergency operations center in response to high temperatures till the weekend. Nearly 2 million Muslims will reach the end of the Hajj pilgrimage this week, but extreme heat has proved fatal for hundreds who began the journey last Friday in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. At least 562 people have died during the Hajj pilgrimage due to flaming heat. Egypt alone has registered 307 deaths and another 118 missing as temperatures at times soared past 51 degrees Celsius. Climate scientists say such deaths offer a glimpse of what is to come for tens of millions of Muslims expected in the coming decades to undertake the Hajj pilgrimage. Scientists state the situation will get much worse as the world warms. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, India to face Afghan challenge today in the Super 8 of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup. In Euro 2024, host Germany confirms round of 16 qualification after a 2-0 win over Hungary. Stay with us for a special report on yoga ahead of the International Day of Yoga on 21st of June. Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour, and now we'll get you updates on the International Day of Yoga that will be celebrated on 21st of June. The International Day of Yoga's 2024 theme, Yoga for Self and Society, underscores the holistic benefits of yoga, not just for an individual, but for the society as a whole. DD India's Tripti Tripathi highlights the present government's initiatives to make yoga popular globally.
Over the last decade, Modi government has championed yoga on both national and international stages. The recognition of June 21st as International Yoga Day by the United Nations in 2014 was a significant achievement for India. Yoga has become a symbol of India's ancient wisdom and spiritual heritage, fostering goodwill across borders. In 2023, Guinness World Record was created for most nationalities in a yoga session at the Yoga Day event led by PM Narendra Modi in New York. Another record was created in Surat with 1.53 lakh participants celebrating International Yoga Day. Domestically, the creation of the Ministry of Ayush in 2014 marked a significant step in mainstreaming yoga. This ministry has launched initiatives like Namaste Yoga app, making yoga resources accessible to all. The new Education Policy 2020 also integrates yoga into the school curriculum. Recognized as a sports discipline, yoga is now taught in many universities.
Government of India is also propagating yoga through generation of evidences, yoga effect of yoga on health. For example, in AIMS Delhi, there is a Center for Integrative Medicine Research, which is supported by Ministry of Ayush. So that center is doing a lot of research on yoga. NIMANS is doing a lot of research on yoga. There are global institutions, NIH, USA is doing a lot of research on yoga. So basically, large-scale evidence generation is also another aspect where we bring yoga into the lives of the people, and that is happening.
Programs like Har Angan Yoga promote yoga at the grassroots level and in workplaces. Initiatives such as Yoga Bharatmala, Yoga Sagar Mala, and Yoga My Pride photography contest further elevates yoga's presence. Ministry of Ayush in collaboration with MyGov has also launched Yoga 2024 quiz based on past International Day of Yoga celebrations. Each participant of the quiz will be rewarded with an e-certificate. Another initiative includes Prime Minister's Award for Yoga that honors significant contributions to the promotion and development of yoga. For International Day of Yoga 2024, the Ministry of Ayush along with the Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga is leading the 100 Days, 100 Cities and the 100 Organizations campaign. This initiative involves mass yoga demonstrations and sessions.
From fostering physical well-being to enhancing India's cultural diplomacy, yoga continues to unite and empower millions across the globe. Prasar Bharati for DD India.
In a city like Hong Kong, where there remains a wealth disparity, access to yoga can be difficult, with pricey yoga memberships making it out of reach for some. A Hong Kong charity's aim is to provide yoga to those who cannot afford it or with special needs. Now, this includes yoga therapy for breast cancer survivors and the elderly, which studies suggest that it can help people with cancer cope with symptoms and side effects. Laura Westbrook gets us more from Hong Kong.
Sit straight, broader chest and shoulders open.
This is not your typical yoga class. Practitioners here are made up of pain patients and cancer survivors referred by a local hospital. They include Margaret Young, who was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2018. She underwent chemotherapy and surgery before recovering the following year.
After the surgery, it was hard to lift my arms and my mobility was much worse. I heard yoga could improve mobility. I think I am diligent because I want to get better quickly and improve my mobility.
Originating in India, yoga has spread worldwide, and it's become very popular here. But memberships can run to hundreds of dollars a month. Yoga teacher Yoganath Andiyapan runs a yoga studio as well as an NGO to bring yoga to those who might have trouble accessing it by offering free classes.
We bring the yoga as a form of therapy to elderly patients, pain patients, stroke patients, wheelchair patients, and also people who have mental health issues.
At a public pier on the city's waterfront, volunteers provide a free class for anyone whose monthly income is below $640, mostly attended by the city's foreign domestic workers. Hong Kong has almost 400,000 foreign domestic workers, mostly from the Philippines and Indonesia. They work 6 days a week, cooking, cleaning, and taking care of children as key contributors to many households. Here, come rain or shine, they are able to take an hour for themselves. Their work can be physical and the days long.
My employer in Delhi cannot walk. You always take care, put in a home chair like that. We need to very strong. Big help the yoga for me because I'm very strong now.
But yoga is not just about the physical rewards.
We are away from our family, so sometimes we feel homesick to them, we miss them. Doing yoga is sometimes you don't feel your loneliness.
People are much more aware of yoga now, but this organization's founder hopes to bring the practice of yoga to more people in the community who need it. In Hong Kong, Laura Westbrook reporting for DD India.
And now we turn focus to sports. Talking of cricket, India will face Afghanistan in their first Super 8 match at the Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Barbados on Thursday. India finished on the top of Group A after winning 3 out of their 4 matches in the group stage ahead of co-hosts USA. Afghanistan, on the other hand, finished second, winning 3 of their 4 Group C matches, with their only loss a significant against West Indies. India has faced Afghanistan 3 times in the T20 World Cups and has won all the 3 matches. In Euro 2024, host Germany registered a comfortable 2-0 win over Hungary in Group A on Wednesday as it became the first side to qualify for the knockout stage. Jamal Musiala registered himself in the score sheet, placing Germany ahead as captain Ilkay Gundogan assisted him in the 22nd minute. With this result, Germany raised its total points to 6, while Hungary remained at bottom of Group A without a single point. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both iOS and Android platforms, and you can scan these QR codes on your screens. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us at In Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.